Ah, Donald Trump. A name as inescapable as glitter. Once he's in the room, you'll be finding traces of him for years. He's a polarizing figure to some, a patriotic savior. To others, a walking controversy with a spray tan. Love him or loathe him, his impact is undeniable. But what is it about Trump that inspires such intense dislike? Tonight, we're diving into the 10 biggest reasons people find themselves in the not a fan of Trump club. From his unconventional resume to his most democracy-threatening actions, we'll break down the controversies, the chaos, and the consequences. Buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride. Reason 10. Trump had zero political or military experience before becoming president. The presidency isn't an entry-level job. Trump's background was real estate, reality TV, and branding. No public service, no policy chops. For millions, this was terrifying, not refreshing. The fear that a novice could blunder into disaster or mismanage crises. Supporters called him an outsider ready to drain the swamp. Critics saw someone dangerously out of his depth, like hiring a plumber who's never seen a pipe. Entrusting the nuclear codes to a reality TV star felt, to many, like a reckless gamble. For a lot of Americans, it was reason enough to worry. Reason 9. Trump's communication style was combative. Past presidents gave inspiring speeches. Trump fired off insults and rage tweets. His nicknames, Crooked Hillary, Sleepy Joe, turned politics into a schoolyard brawl. For supporters, it was entertaining. For others, exhausting and unpresidential. His language flirted with threats and stoked division. The result? A coarsened public discourse and a country in constant whiplash. For many, his words were reason enough to tune out or turn against his presidency. Reason 8. Trump's war on the press. Criticizing the media is one thing, calling them the enemy of the people is another. He labeled any unflattering coverage as fake news, dismissing decades-old institutions with a tweet. This wasn't just spin, it was an attempt to delegitimize journalism itself. The phrase enemy of the people has a dark history, used by dictators to silence dissent. Trump's rhetoric made reporting dangerous, fueling hostility at rallies and online. His administration restricted access and fostered deep cynicism among supporters. If facts are always fake, rational debate becomes impossible. For many, this was a direct assault on democracy's foundation, a free press. Undermining public trust in information wasn't just reckless, it was unprecedented. The result? A nation divided not just by opinion, but by reality itself. For critics, this was one of Trump's most unforgivable acts. Reason 7. Trump's response to COVID-19. In a global crisis, the country needed science-based leadership. Instead, Trump downplayed the virus, promoted unproven treatments, and contradicted his own experts. He admitted to playing it down, even as the threat grew. Infamous moments like suggesting disinfectant as a cure left public health officials scrambling. He sidelined scientists, politicized masks, and held large, maskless rallies. The result was confusion, distrust, and a chaotic federal response. The U.S. suffered some of the worst outcomes among developed nations. Critics argue his actions cost lives and deepened the crisis. For many, this was his presidency's defining failure. The pandemic demanded leadership. What they saw was denial and deflection. The consequences were devastating, personally and nationally. For millions, his handling of COVID-19 was unforgivable. Reason 6. Trump's environmental rollbacks. He withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement, signaling a retreat from global leadership on climate. His administration dismantled over 100 environmental rules, from emissions standards to endangered species protections. The justification? Regulations were job-killing. Critics saw it as a giveaway to polluters at the expense of public health and the planet's future. In an era of wildfires and hurricanes, moving backward on climate was seen as reckless. Younger generations in particular viewed this as a moral failure, the message short-term profit over long-term survival. For many, these policies were a direct assault on clean air, water, and a livable future. The environmental damage wasn't just policy, it was personal. Trump's legacy on the environment became a rallying point for opposition. For those worried about the planet, this was a deal-breaker. Reason 5. Trump's immigration policies. From family separations at the border to the travel ban, his approach was seen as harsh and inhumane. The images of children in cages sparked global outrage. The travel ban targeted several Muslim-majority countries, igniting protests and accusations of discrimination. His signature promise, the border wall, became a symbol of exclusion, not reform. Critics saw cruelty, chaos, and a betrayal of America's identity as a nation of immigrants. The reduction in refugee admissions and relentless focus on enforcement painted a picture of hostility. For many, these policies were a moral stain and a source of constant anger. Immigration became a flashpoint for national shame. For those who value diversity and empathy, Trump's agenda was intolerable. Reason 4. Accusations of encouraging racism and white supremacy. From the birther conspiracy to calling Mexican immigrants rapists, Trump's rhetoric often crossed lines. His response to Charlottesville, very fine people on both sides, was seen as a shocking failure to condemn hate. He used racially charged language and dog whistles, emboldening extremists. Telling congresswomen of color to go back to other countries, despite their citizenship, fueled outrage. For millions, especially people of color, this wasn't just offensive, it was dangerous. They saw a president stoking division for political gain. His words and actions made the country feel more hostile for minorities. This wasn't just about policy. It was about character and morality. For many, it was a fundamental reason for their intense dislike. Reason 3. Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol attack. After losing the 2020 election, he refused to concede, spreading baseless claims of fraud. He pressured officials, filed lawsuits, and fueled a toxic atmosphere of grievance. On January 6th, he told supporters to fight like hell and march to the Capitol. The result, a violent assault on democracy, with deaths, injuries, and a nation traumatized. For critics, Trump's months of lies in his speech that day were direct incitement. He was impeached for incitement of insurrection, the first president impeached twice. The belief that he provoked an attack on democracy is, for many, his most disqualifying act. This wasn't just a protest gone wrong, it was an unprecedented threat to the republic. The scars of that day run deep. For many, it's the ultimate reason he's unfit for office. The line was crossed, and history won't forget. Reason 2. Trump's endless legal troubles. From Trump University and the Trump Foundation scandals to the Mueller investigation, controversy followed him. He was impeached for pressuring Ukraine and later indicted on multiple criminal charges after leaving office. The list includes hush money payments, mishandling classified documents, and efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Critics see a patterned disregard for the law, abuse of power, and deep-seated corruption. Supporters call it a witch hunt, opponents call it accountability. The sheer volume and severity of accusations are unprecedented for a former president. For many, it's proof he believes the rules don't apply to him. The legal drama isn't just background noise, it's central to why so many distrust and dislike him. For critics, it's a clear sign he's unfit for public office. Reason 1. Undermining trust in democracy itself. Trump's refusal to accept the 2020 election results went beyond sour grapes. It was a direct attack on the peaceful transfer of power. He spread the big lie that the election was stolen, despite all evidence to the contrary. This denialism became a litmus test for his party and fueled threats against election workers. The result, a deep fissure in American society and fears for future elections. For critics, this is the ultimate sin. A president attacking the very system he swore to protect. It's not just about policy or personality, it's about the survival of democracy itself. By refusing to concede, he crossed a line no president had before. The damage to trust and stability may last for generations. For many, this is the core reason he's seen as a threat to the republic. The legacy, a nation divided and democracy shaken. So there you have it, 10 reasons, from inexperience to attacks on democracy, that fuel the deep dislike of Donald Trump. For his followers, these are features, not flaws. A fighter battling a corrupt system. But for millions of others, his actions and words have been divisive, harmful, and dangerous. The dislike isn't casual, it's rooted in conviction and lived experience. Trump's legacy is a lightning rod for division, and his impact will be debated for years. Whether you see him as a patriot or a problem, these reasons explain why he remains one of the most disliked figures in modern politics. The debate isn't over, but the reasons are clear. And history, as always, will have the final word.